Okay, so in this topic, we will be talking about the sampling distribution, point estimation, statistical interval, and linear regression. This is going to be your last discussion for this semester for your subject, which is engineering data analysis. We opted not to discuss the module 15 and 16 kasi hindi naman siya madalas lumalabas sa board exam and we don't have that much time to discuss that even yung topics na yun. Pero don't worry kasi we will be removing that or kung lumabas man sa exam nyo, we will make sure na i-avoid namin yung topics na yun as not to be unfair to your part. So ngayon, dito, requirement for these three topics na pag-uusapan natin today, kinakailangan meron kayong i-memorize na mga formulas. You have to focus more on the concept side of these three topics rather than doon sa calculations kasi minimal requirement lang yun nire-require sa inyo kapag ka magsasolve kayo ng mga ganitong problems. Very direct to the point lang siya. All you have to do is to just memorize the formula and then you're good to go. Ang kailangan nyo dito, mag-focus dito more on the concept side of these topics kasi most probably lumabas yung mga concepts ng mga pinag-aaral natin. And also, huwag kayo class mag-rely lang dun sa mga sample problems natin. Kailangan reviewin nyo parehas yung concept side at saka yung calculation parts. Okay? Para kahit papano, parehas nyo alam kapag ka nag-exam kayo. So, sige, let's start with the sampling distribution and point estimation. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to define point estimations, discuss the properties of good estimators, and give examples of point estimates, and also state and discuss central limit theorem or CLT. Kasi madalas yan, naalala ko noon, nung pagka nag-exam ako noon or nagtitake din ako ng mga exam sa statistics, madalas din tinatanong class yung concept ng central limit theorem na yan. Kaya ngayon, i-share ko din sa inyo para just in case, okay? So, for the concepts, pagka binasa niyo yung mga modules nyo, sobrang gulo na to. Sobrang gulo nung topic na to, which is yung sampling distribution and point estimation. Pero okay, mag-alala kasi sinamarize ko para sa inyo para unti-unti mas maintindihan nyo. For the definition of terms, yung estimation muna tayo, sabi dito, it refers to the process by which one, andito tayo class, yan, by which one makes inferences about a population based on information obtained from the sample. In general, kapag sinabi natin class na estimation, kumbaga parang nagsasolve ka ng something based dun sa mga nag-gathered mong data. Pero yung nakuha mong sagot based dun sa estimation mo is just an approximate. Hindi siya exact or accurate. Kasi nga, nag-perform ka ng inferences lang dun sa data na yon with which is yung estimation lang. Kumbaga, nag-estimate ka lang. Hindi siya accurate. Okay? Next is yung statistic. Sabi ganon, refers to any measurable quantity calculated from the sample. A statistic could be the sample mean, which is yung x bar, the sample standard deviation, which is yung s, and the sample variance, which is yung s squared. Kapag nagsasolve kayo, yung usual na ginagawa natin kapag nagsasolve kayo ng mean, ng standard deviation, at saka ng variance, yung class yung tinatawag natin statistics. Kumbaga nagpe-perform na kayo doon ng statistics sa mga yon. Parameter or in other term, ang tawag sa parameter na yan ay variable. Kumbaga parang variable lang yan. Parameter, notation. Parameter refers to the descriptive measures of the population. For example, the population mean, which is yung mu, yung kinocompute natin, the population standard deviation or sigma, and the population variance, which is yung sigma squared. So, yun yung mga parameters na ginagamit natin. And then, etong dalawa na to, estimator and then estimate, dito litong-lito yung mga students ko before, which is natatandaan ko, estimator is a quantity calculated from the sample data which are used to give information about the unknown quantity in the population. For example, the sample mean, an estimator of the population mean. So, tingin kayo dito sa table na to para mas maintindihan niyo kung ano ba yung difference ng estimator at saka estimate. Yung estimator class, for example, you are considering a large population or data. Tapos, syempre, kukuha ka doon ng sample. Kukunin mo ngayon class yung, for example, yung mean, yung population mean na yan, yung population standard deviation, at saka variance. Instead of using mu, gagamitin mo yung x bar, yung s squared, at saka yung s. Ito ngayon class yung tinatawag nating point estimator. Kumbaga, yung x bar na to, siya yung point estimator nung mean, nung population mean natin kapag kumuha ka ng sample. Okay? Kumbaga, parang siya lang yung notation for population mean. And then, ano naman yung difference ng estimator at saka ng estimate? E di, from the name itself, kapag ka-estimator, ito class yung symbol. Yun yung estimator mo, which is yung x bar. And then, ano naman yung estimate? Ito class yung nakuha mong answer. Sabi ganon, estimate is the particular value of an estimator that is obtained from a particular sample of data. Meron kang population, kumuha ka ng sample data, nag-decide ka na gusto mo kumpitin yung mean, ang point estimator mo ngayon is yung x bar. Kapag ka nakuha mo yung mean ng data mo, nakuha mo yung final answer, yun na ngayong class yung tinatawag nating estimate. Okay? Of sample data and used to estimate the value of the parameter, kumbaga yung numerical value. In the preceding example, if the sample mean is x bar is equal to 3.5, then we can say, or we may say that 3.5 is the estimate of the parameter, the population mean. Okay? Ulitin ko. Yung population mean nyo, that is mu. Pero since kukuha ka ng sample dun sa population mo, therefore, yung point estimator mo ngayon is yung x bar. And then kapag ka nakuha mo yung numerical value, which is yung population mean, that is 3.5, eto ngayon yung class yung tatawagin nating estimate. Yung numerical value. Okay? So, yun yung difference nung dalawa lang naman na yan. Pwede nyo siyang i-define yung mga definition of terms na to using general terms lang. O for estimation. Ano ba estimation? Ito yung process na nag-estimate ka. Statistics. Ito class yung mga kinukuha natin before. Yung mean, standard deviation, at saka variance. Parameter. Symbol. Ibig sabihin yan, symbol lang. Estimator at saka estimate. Estimator, that is your x bar, and then estimate, yun yung numerical value mo. Okay? For next sampling, gusto niyo ba i-highlight ko pa? So, wag na. Ito na lang i-highlight ko. Para pagka nag-review kayo, bibigay ko yung copy kasi na to. Dito naman class na tayo sa sampling distribution. So, the distribution of the point estimator is termed as the sampling distribution. Di ba sobrang dami yun ng distributions na napag-usapan? Binomial, Poisson, or Poisson, normal distribution, at saka exponential distribution. Dito naman class sa sampling distribution, kapag nagko-compute ka ng point estimator sa isang distribution, which is nagpe-perform ka ng statistic, ito kasi yung tinatawag nating sampling distribution. Pero yung formulas na nagpangkuha ng mean, sabi ganon, the mean of the sampling distributions is given by, ito yung class, yung mu or x bar, that's equal to, pag-aadin nyo lahat ng data natin, and then i-over nyo kung ilan sila. Eh, di ba? Yung formula na to, ito rin yung ginagawa natin before. Ito lang din yun. Di ba? Ito lang din yun. Kung paano tayo class kumukuha ng mean, kahit ano pang distribution yan, yan lang din yun. So, wala siyang difference. The variance and standard deviation of the sample distribution. Dito naman, kung hindi class ganito yung pagkakompute nyo ng variance before, then ibig sabihin na iba siya ng konti. Pero, dati kasi, gumagamit kayo ng variable x and then minimize yung mean tsaka yung square dito. In this case, yung variance nyo that is theta squared, and then x bar is equal to standard deviation yan. Standard deviation, i-square nyo siya, and then i-over nyo sa n squared. Yung n squared na yan, that stands for kung ilan yung data nyo. And then yung theta na to, pwede nyo rin class sabihin ito, that theta is equal to yung standard deviation nyo sa given. Okay? So, ayan, ninote ko na. So, pwede natin i-try siguro sa example kasi mabilis lang naman to. Very direct to the point yung pagko-compute na gagawin nyo kapag sampling distribution lang siya. Anyway, so let's try. Ganun, an electronic company manufactures resistors or gumagawa sila ng resistors that have mean resistance of 120 ohms and a standard deviation of 12 ohms. If distribution of the resistance is normal, find the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation of the sampling distribution for n is equal to 25 resistor. So, binanggit na sampling distribution to. So, definitely, wala tayong ibang gagamiting formula kung hindi itong dalawa lang na to. Ganyan lang class yung mga type ng problems kapag sampling distribution. So, for us to be able to solve for this, ilagay nyo lang kung ano ba yung mean natin. So, pwede nyo class gumamit ng symbol, bahala kayo, whether x bar or mu. Pwede nyo class ilagay that mean is equal to, sabing ganun, 120 ohms. Tapos, and the standard deviation of 12 ohms. So, standard deviation is equal to 12 ohms. Ayan na. Find the mean, the variance, and standard deviation of the sampling distribution for n is equal to 25 resistors. 25 resistors. So, pwede nyo class gamitin yung formula na to, pero ako, ang ginagamit ko kasing formula kapag ka nagsisolve na ganyan is yung usual lang din. So, kapag kakumpitin natin yung mean, wala naman kayo ibang kukumpitin dyan kung hindi mean, standard deviation, at saka yung variance, given na yung mean niya, that is mu, and then x bar, that's equal to, yung mu lang niya, or yung mean lang niya, that's equal to 120. Ito lang yun, class. Ayan. Makikita nyo rin sa module nyo, ganyan lang talaga yung solution niya. Next, the variance. Find the variance and standard deviation of the sampling distribution. Ano yung formula ng variance natin? So, yung theta, palitan nyo na lang class ng sigma yan. Sigma. Variance. Unahin natin variance, that is sigma squared and then x bar is equal to, kasi ang pinakompute natin is population. So, ayan. Ano ba yung standard deviation nyo? Edi 12. Wala namang iba na given. Isa lang yan. Edi 12 squared over yung n nyo, that is 25, and then squared. Pero tandaan nyo, binanggit dito sa problem na to, na dinerive kasi to class. Dinerive ko to. Ika, iangat ko to. Tandaan nyo, dinerive tong formula na to. Sabi ganun, that variance, yung variance niya, of the sample distribution, so therefore that is times x bar is equal to, i-square nyo daw lahat ng standard deviation. So, ipa-plus nyo, standard deviation, kung ilan man yan, yung different standard deviation, over, i-n nyo, and then squared. Pero kasi, pwede nyo class, i-factor out yung standard deviation na yan. This becomes sigma squared x bar is equal to, yung sigma na yan, i-factor out nyo. Pagka finactor out nyo, bibilangin nyo kung ilan yan, i-multiply nyo sa n, and then sigma squared over n squared. Maka-cancel tong isang n at saka ito. Therefore, ang formula na lang for the computation of variance with respect to the sampling is equal to, sampling distribution is equal to sigma squared or standard deviation squared over n na lang to. So, kahit ito na lang class ang i-take note nyo. Ayan, doesn't matter. Ito na lang. So, ayan. Therefore, ito, no need na to i-square. No need na siya i-square. Kasi, dinerive na yung formula. Therefore, what is this? Paki-compute nga. So, this is 12 squared over 25. This is 5.76. This is 5.76. Ito yun. And then, lastly, para makuha natin yung standard deviation niya, di ba ang ginagawa lang natin, ini-square root para matanggal square na yan. Therefore, standard deviation of sampling distribution is equal to, square root nyo lang yung nakuha nyo dun sa variance, that is 5.76 is equal to, so ilan? Square root nyan, kung paano kayo nagko-compute class before, ganun lang din siya. This is 2.4. So, ito yun. Ito kasi yung inyong standard deviation with respect to sampling distribution. Okay? So, ayan. Magkaiba to ha. Magkakaiba to class kasi. Magkakaiba yan. Yung mu na to, for population yan. Pero kapag ka may x bar na yan, for sampling distribution na yan. So, yung sigma na yan, standard deviation of the whole population. Pero pagka standard deviation na may x bar, for sampling distribution na siya. Okay? Kaya nakalagay dito, pansinin nyo, find the mean, the variance, and standard deviation of the sampling distribution. Kaya lalagyan nyo siya ng x bar kasi magkaiba sila. Okay? So, ayan lang. So, ngayon, mapapatunayan natin na yung population mean is yung mu, ang point estimator niya is yung x bar. Kapag ka naman variance, ito yon sigma squared, pero ang point estimator niya is yung s squared. Kapag ka naman standard deviation of the population parameter, sigma lang siya, pero pagka ang point estimator niya is s. So, eto, pwede rin tong s. Pwede rin tong s squared, pwede rin tong s. Tapos eto, pwede rin tong x bar. Ayan. So, bahala na kayo class decide kung ano yung gagamitin nyo. Okay? Teka, naasog. Yan, okay na yun. Bibigay ko yung copy kasi na to. And then, another point estimator na po pwede nyo class kunin, baka kasi lumabas din sa exam, dapat hindi ko na ito isasama, pero isama ko na. Another point estimator na po pwede nyo kunin kapag ka nagsisolve kayo ng sampling distribution is yung tinatawag nating standard error or SE. Ang formula ng pagkuha ng standard error is just SE is equal to yung standard deviation of the population over square root ng number ng population nyo. That is, SE stands for standard error of the sample, standard deviation of the population, which is yung sigma, and then yung n, yung sample size or yung number of population nyo. So, let's try. Baka kasi lumabas to sa exam nyo, if ever lang. In a certain property investment company with an international presence, workers have a mean hourly wage of 120 pesos with a population standard deviation of 5 pesos. So, dun pa lang, alam nyo na kung ano yung sigma natin, which is 5 pesos. Given a sample size of 30, estimate and interpret the standard error of the sample mean. Kapag kinampit nyo yan, so that is just SE, or ilagay muna pala natin kung ano yung mga given. Yung mean natin, that's mu is equal to 125, pero hindi naman natin kailangan yan for computation of standard error. Yung inyong standard deviation, that is equal to, very direct talaga class to, yung mga ganitong problems. 5 given a sample size of 30, sample size of 30, that is n is equal to 30. Therefore, standard error is equal to 5 over square root of 30. This is equal to, put nyo, 1 point na agad yan pag lumabas sa exam. Ang problema lang sa statistics class, Sa probability and statistics, sobrang dami yung formula na kailangan i-memorize. But we have nothing to do. We have no choice. We have no choice but to memorize yung formula. Kasi wala naman tayong magagawa dun. This is 0.91. This is 0.9129. Yan. So, hindi accurate yung mga final answers na nasa module nyo. So, ang gamitin natin is yung mas accurate. So, 4 decimal places tayo. So, eto class yung standard error niya. Yan lang. Ano-ano yung mga point estimator natin na sinod dito? Unang-una yung mean which is x bar, that is your mean for sampling distribution, s squared, and then s, tapos yung standard error. Okay? Then next, try natin to class. The central limit theorem, ito kasi yung usual na na-encounter ko before. Ang tatandaan nyo lang, dito sa central limit theorem, sige, basahin ko muna yung definition niya and then explain ko sa inyo kung ano yung ini-state niya. Sabi ganun, the central limit theorem states that the sampling distribution of the sample means or unknown population approaches a normal distribution as the sample size gets larger. This holds especially true for sample sizes over 30. Ano ba ibig sabihin nun? Sabi ganon. For example, you have different graphs of distribution. For example, Poisson distribution. Alam niyo ba yung itsura ng graph ng Poisson distribution? So, kung hindi, balikan niyo yun. Hindi siya normal distribution, correct. Yung other distributions niyo pa, ano pa ba? Exponential distribution, for example, or any other kind or types of distribution. Sabing ganun, sabi ng central limit theorem, kapag ka daw sobrang dami, sobrang laki daw ng sample size mo, which is over 30, yung data mo, halimbawa over 30, kapag ka daw nag-solve ka ng sample mean or point estimator dun sa sampling distribution mo, ang nangyayari daw dun sa graph mo, kahit ano pang distribution yun, nagiging approaching siya sa normal distribution. Kumbaga, initially, Poisson distribution siya or exponential distribution siya, and then eventually, kapag ka daw lumalaki yung sample size niya, nagiging over 30 na siya. So, it doesn't matter kung anong type of distribution siya, ang sabi ng central limit theorem, nagiging papunta na siya sa normal distribution. So, yun lang naman yung sabi niya. So, sabi ganon, that the sampling distribution of the sample means approaches a normal distribution as the sample size gets larger kapag ka lumalaki or nag-i-increase, okay? So, hindi siya nagdi-decrease, nag-i-increase, nagiging normal distribution na siya. So, yun lang yung sinasabi ng central limit theorem, and to prove that, try natin itong example na to. Sabing ganun, the average age of a vehicle registered in the United States is 8 years or 96 months. Assume the standard deviation is 16 months if a random sample of 36 vehicles is selected or are selected. Find the probability that the mean of their age is between 90 and 100 months. So, try natin. Kapag ganito kasi lumabas na problem sa inyo, first thing that you have to do, siyempre, kinakailangan mag-plot kayo ng graph. Ano daw ang mean nyo? Sabi ganon, age ng vehicle daw registered in the United States is 96 months. Kasi months yung pinapahanap na sa atin, gumamit tayo 96 months. So, if this is your 96 months, let's say, for example, this is 96, ano daw yung probability that the mean of their age is between 90 and 100 months, provided na 36 vehicles yung N nyo. Since N is equal to 36, papatunayan natin, sabi ganon, magiging approaching to normal distribution na siya. Nasaan ba ang 90 at saka yung 100? So, since nandito yung 90, I guess nandito yung 90, mas mababa sa 96, and then 100, mas pataas yun. 100. Definitely, kapag gumawa kayo ng graph dyan, magiging approaching to normal distribution yan. So, try natin solvein yung probability niya. So, kapag kinuha nyo yung probability niya, ito yon. First, kinakailangan kunin muna natin class yung z-score niya. Tandaan nyo, para makuha natin yung probability na yung magiging mean age ng mga vehicle sa United States is between 90 at saka 100, kailangan kunin natin yung probability ng 90 is between, syempre, yung x bar, ito yung point estimator natin, or yung mean, that is 100. Since we are dealing with sampling distribution, gagamitin pa rin natin to, yung mga formulas na yan. So, tandaan nyo yan, okay? Yan. Tandaan nyo yan. Saan na ba? Ito. Ayan. Pwede nyo to class i-convert sa z-score. Yung tinuro ko sa inyo before, pwede nyo class kunin yung z-score nung 90, that should be less than sa z, and then greater than dapat yung sa z 100 nyo. And then, titingin kayo dun sa table kanina. I mean, last time na ginawa natin. Titingnan nyo pa rin yung table ng z-score natin. Okay? So, let's try. First, kunin muna natin yung z-score nung para sa 90 months at saka sa 100 months. So, z90 is equal to, natatandaan nyo pa ba? Yung x minus mu, di ba yung x na data nyo, ima-minus nyo yung mean natin, which is yung mu. Tapos, ang gagawin nyo, i-over nyo sa standard deviation. Pero since we are dealing with sampling distribution, instead of just using yung standard deviation, ang gagamitin nyo is ito. So, instead of you just using yung normal na standard deviation before na ginagawa nyo, ang gagamitin natin is standard deviation with respect to sampling distribution. So, this becomes x bar na yan, and then etong mu or mean nyo, it stands for yung merong x bar na siya over standard deviation. So, yung standard deviation natin, meron na rin tong x bar. Kung babalikan nyo class yung sinolve natin kanina, kapag ka nagsasolve kayo ng variance, di ba ganito yung variance nyo? Kunin nyo to. Variance nyo with respect to sampling distribution is equal to sigma squared over n. Pero since i-square root nyo to, square nyo to both sides. Square root nyo yan both sides. This will be cancelled. Tsaka to. Ito din. Therefore, ang standard deviation nyo with respect to sampling distribution is equal to sigma over square root ng n. Parang ano siya, no? Parang standard error. Ayan, parang naging standard error siya. So, ayan. So, ito yung standard deviation na gagamitin nyo. Standard deviation. Or, pwede rin naman, sabihin nyo na lang na sample standard deviation. That is the point estimator for population. So, kahit pag na, i-ano ko na lang dito. Lagyan ko na lang na to. Okay? So, lagyan natin to. So, if we are to change this, substituting, so yung z-score nyo ng 90 months is equal to, ilan yung x-bar nyo? Ilan ang x-bar nyo? That is 90. Siyempre, yan yung kinukuha nyo, 90 minus yung mean, that is 96 over sigma. Ano yung sigma nyo? Ano yung standard deviation nyo? 16 months. 16 over square root ng n nyo. Ano ang n nyo? What is n? 36. Pwede ko actually ilagay ito dito para hindi kayo malito. Standard deviation is equal to 16 and then n. So, ayan. 16 months. Meron pa ba? Mean, which is yung mu, that's equal to 96. So, I think we're good. Kumpitin nyo to class. And then, yung isa naman, yung z na 100 is equal to, syempre, 100 to minus 90. 6 over 6 pa din to. 16. Ano bang 6? Anong galing 6 na yan? 16 yan. Over square root ng 36 is equal to input nyo class sa calcu ulit. This now becomes 90 minus 96 over 96 over 16 over square root of 36. Negative, this is negative 2.25. Tapos dito naman, sa isa, bago lang to. 100. This is positive 1.5. And again, gagamitin natin class yung z-score table nyo. Pagka class ginamit nyo yung z-score table nyo, therefore, ang probability ng Z90 is between 90 months to 100. Z100 is equal to, ang ginagawa natin, di ba, pinagmaminus lang natin yan. I-minus nyo yung highest to lowest. So, check ko lang yung z-score table, hanapin ko lang. Nasaan ba yun? Check, kunin nyo class yung mga z-score table nyo kasi titingnan ko sa akin, hindi ko maipapakita dito, hindi ko pala na lagay. So, sige. 1.5. Nasaan ba ang 1.5? 1.5. Then 0, 93319 ba yun? This is 0.93319. 3319 minus yung negative 2.25. Negative 2.20 0.25 0.1 nasaan pa 2.25 0.0122. So pag minusin yung mga class, if correct, 0.93319 minus 0.0122. Check ko lang kung tama. 92, tama naman. This is 0.92099. This is equal to times is 100. 0.92099 times 100. This is 92.1%. 92.1.10%. Ayan, ito class yung probability niya. I-heads up ko pala kayo class kasi sa ibang references, medyo may konting discrepancy or difference yung z-score table compared dun sa z-score table nyo sa module. Nagkakaroon ng z-score discrepancy yan. Konti lang naman, minimal. Pero pagka kinumpit nyo, yung probability niyan, halos same lang yan. Okay? So, and by that, na-prove natin na kapag yung n nyo is 30 and above, or yung sample size nyo is 30 and above, in this problem that is 36, nagiging approaching na sa normal distribution. So, eto class yung example ng central limit theorem. Okay, so let's proceed. Dito na tayo class sa statistical interval. Kasi, kailangan nyo din to. Objective of this study, you will have to be able to solve for the confidence interval from a normally distributed data. Ang general formula lang na kinakailangan nyo tandaan kapag ka nagsasolve kayo for confidence interval is x bar plus or minus yung margin of error. So, medyo magulo, again, yung nasa module nyo, pero i-explain ko sa inyo isa-isa yan. Sabi ganon, kapag ka daw given, meron kayong two types of solutions na pwede ma-encounter kapag ka nagsasolve ng confidence interval sa isang problem, sa isang normal distributed problem natin or data. First one, kapag ka given yung standard deviation at saka yung sample mean. Pagka given yung standard deviation at saka sample mean, ito class yung gagawin nyo. Ang gagamitin nyo para sa formula ng margin of error, that is z alpha over 2 times yung standard deviation over square root ng n, where standard deviation is equal to, syempre, standard error is equal to standard deviation over square root ng n. So, ayan lang yung iba. And tandaan nyo, kaya plus or minus yan, plus stands for yung upper boundary ng confidence interval nyo, and then yung minus yung lower boundary ng confidence interval nyo. Ano ibig sabihin ng confidence interval? Kumbaga, kapag halimbawa magsasolve kayo ng probability, gusto nyo malaman yung average height ng mga tao. For example, ang average height ng mga tao dito sa atin is 5'5" to 5'8". Nag-fall between 90 to 95% yung probability nyo. Therefore, ang confidence interval nyo definitely mag-fall between that range. Yun yung tinatawag nating confidence interval. Statistical interval, malaki yung chance na yung probability na masolve nyo is mag-fall within that range lang. Kaya, natin to kina-compute. Okay? So, ayan lang. Ima-minus nyo kapag ka lower boundary of the confidence interval, ipa-plus nyo naman kapag ka upper. For the solution number 2, kapag ka daw yung S at saka yung sample mean are no. Ano ba yung S na yan? Balikan nyo class dun sa point estimator natin kanina kung ano ba yung S na yan. Ano lang din yan, standard deviation lang din pero for sample statistic. So, tingnan natin. Kumbaga, yung S na yon, ano lang, sample, standard deviation lang. Yun yung difference nila. Kagaya nung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina sa point estimator. Ang gagawin nyo naman, wala namang mababago. Instead of just using, instead of just using yung standard deviation kanina, imumultiply natin siya ngayon dito. That is S over yung square root ng N pa din, pero imumultiply natin siya sa P alpha over 2. Kung kanina, ginagamit natin is yung Z at saka yung standard deviation na sigma, this time, gagamitin nyo is eto na. For the margin of error. Okay? So, sige, let's try. For the lower boundary, ganun pa rin naman, minus kapag ka upper boundary, plus yan. So, para mas ma-appreciate nyo yung mga formulas na yan, let's try solving a problem. For example, we have a sample of 20 observations from a normal distribution with standard deviation of 0.20. So, pwede nyo na class ilagay that standard deviation is equal to 0.20 and the sample mean of 4.5. So, pwede nyo na rin isulat yan. Ano ba yung 4.5 na yan? So, sample mean daw, that is your x bar is equal to 4.5. We want a 95% level of significance or confidence. What are the lower and upper boundary of the confidence interval? So, for the lower, nahin ko yung lower. So, for the lower, ang gagawin nyo, kagaya ng formula natin, since ang given sa inyo is standard deviation, hindi naman sample standard deviation, gagamit tayo ng x bar minus yung z alpha over 2 times standard deviation sigma over square root ng n. Substituting, ano yung sample mean nyo? 4.5 minus. Kaso ang tanong, ano ba class yung sinasabi na to na z alpha over 2? Ito yung class ha. Take note of this, that z alpha over 2 is equal to z score yan. Ang gagawin nyo, 1, ipa-plus nyo yung confidence interval, that is 95%. So kapag ka in decimal, kinuha nyo yan, that is 0.95, and then i-divide nyo daw sa 2, divide by 2. Kunin nyo yan, kumpitin nyo yan, class 1 plus 0.95 over 2. Medyo mabusisi lang to. Simple lang siya, pero ang dami nyo kasing formula kakabisaduhin. 0.95 over 2. This is 0.975. Ito class yung area. Ito ngayon class yung area sa z-score table. From z-score table. Z-score table. Ayan. Ngayon, hanapin nyo kung ano yung equivalent niya na z dito sa area natin na 0.95. Kapag hinanap niyo yan sa z-score table, dun kayo tumingin sa values ha. Makikita niyo yan. Hanapin niyo yung 1 point, hanapin niyo yung 0.975 na yan. Positive dapat 0.975. So, medyo mahatagal yan. Makikita nyo yan between nasa 1.96. Ayan. So, eto yun. 1.96. So, yung 0.975 na area na yan, nasa z-score table nyo under 1.96. So, correct. Yan, 1.96. Therefore, substituting 1.96 to, and then, imumultiply nyo standard deviation, that is 0.20 over square root ng sample size nyo. Ng sample size nyo, 20. This is equal to, paki-input nga class sa calcu. Ayan. So, pag in-input nyo, baka maguguluhan kayo dyan sa module nyo kasi wala namang binigay kung paano nakuha yung 1.96 na yan. So, ganyan class mag-compute. Tandaan nyo to. Okay? So, this is 4.5 minus 1.96 times 0.20 over square root ng 20. This is, ano ba yan? 4.4123. This is 4.4123. And then, para naman dun, sa upper, ipa-plus nyo lang naman yan, kunin na natin 4.587. Tandaan nyo ha. Para naman dun sa upper, this is x bar plus z alpha over 2 times standard deviation over square root ng n is equal to 4.5 plus 1.96 times 0.20 over square root ng 20 is equal to 4.578. 877 pala. 877. 877. So, ito class yung final answer nyo. Ito yung for lower interval and then ito yung upper interval. Ano yung sabihin ng 4.4123 at saka 4.5877 na yan? Meron kayong sample mean, nasa pagitan yan, syempre 4.5. Gusto nyo daw ng 95% na level of significance, what are the lower and upper boundary of the confidence interval? Kapag kinuha nyo yung probability na 95% niyan, magpo-fall between dito yan. Yan yung ibig sabihin ng statistical interval. Okay? Next, the sample mean result is 25%. For this estimate, calculate a confidence interval if the margin of error is 3.2. So, very direct lang to kasi binigay na yung margin of error niya. So, sample mean naman yung binigay this time. Ang sample mean nyo is equal to 25%. For this estimate, calculate the confidence interval if the margin of error. Binigay na kasi yung margin of error is equal to 3.2%. Eh, di ba? Yung formula na to, ito lang na may general formula nyo. Margin of error, kumbaga, ayan no, ito na. Sample mean, ipa-plus or minus nyo lang yung margin of error. So, kapag ka-class, binigyan kayo ng sample mean, tapos margin of error, i-plus and minus nyo lang yan, makukuha nyo na yung upper at saka lower boundary natin. Ito kasing kinukuha natin na to, margin of error to. Ito lang din yung margin of error. Tandaan nyo, margin of error lang din to. Kagaya din dito. Ito, margin of error lang din to. Ayan, yung dalawa na to. Teka. Margin of error lang to. Yan yung kinukuha natin yan. Dun sa may solution number 2 naman natin, ito, margin of error lang din to, class. Margin of error. Okay? So, ayan. Sige, i-plus or minus lang natin. Ito yung lower. Unahin natin yung lower. Therefore, this is x bar minus yung margin of error is equal to 25% minus 3.2% is equal to ilan? So, yan, i-minus nyo yan. And then for the upper, x bar plus margin of error is equal to 25% plus 3.2%. 25 minus 3.2. This is 21.8%. Yung isa naman plus, this is 28.2%. So, dyan magpo-fall class yung um, answer nyo. Between 21.8 at saka 28.2. Okay? Ayan. Sir, may magtatanong. Sure ako may magtatanong dito. Teka lang. Asan pa yun? Ayan. Sure ako. Ayan. Sure ako may magtatanong dito. Ano naman po yung sir, kapag ka ang given sample is standard deviation instead of standard deviation lang, ito kasi yun, di ba? Magkaiba yun. Ang iba nyo lang dyan, test, eto. Yun lang. Pero yung pagkuha ng Z na to, at saka nung T na to, parehas yan. Walang difference yan, class. Okay? So, ayan. Wala siyang pinagkaiba, pero tandaan nyo, class, wala siyang pinagkaiba dun sa way ng pagkuha. Kung paano tayo, class, kumuha ng dun sa Z-score table kanina, ganun din, class, gagawin nyo kapag ka T table yung ibinigay. Pero, wala kasi siya dun sa module natin, kaya hindi ko binigay. Pero, kung paano natin, class, hinanap yung sa Z-score table, ganun lang di gagawin nyo. If ever na ibigay sa exam ito na ang given is sample standard deviation instead of standard deviation lang, magpo-provide naman kami ng students T distribution table. Huwag kayong mag-alala. Ano lang siya, kamukha lang din siya ng z-score table. I mean, kahawig lang. Iba lang yung numerical values na nasa gilid. Increasing siya. Kay z-score table kasi, di ba, merong positive tsaka negative. Kay t-table naman, increasing siya from 1 to something. Okay? So, ganun lang. If ever na hindi lumabas, then hindi yan siya kailangan pakialaman. Pero pagka may problem, then definitely, magpo-provide kami ng t-table. Okay? So, para ma-familiarize kayo, hindi ko kasi na-input dito, i-search nyo kung ano yung difference nun. Pero makikita nyo, halos same lang siya. Okay? Ginagamit lang din siya for area. And then lastly, proceed tayo sa simple linear regression and correlation coefficient. This topic, kailangan at the end of this topic, marunong kayo mag-compute for the simple linear regression equation and the correlation coefficient of 2. Tapos kailangan ma-interpret nyo yung result. I will introduce two solutions dito. Number 1 is by using yung formula na nakikita nyo sa screen. And then for number 2, gagamit tayo ng calculator technique. Sa formula, kinakailangan yung tandaan to, class, that y is equal to beta sub o plus beta sub 1 and then x sub I plus yung parang letter E na yan or epsilon. Yung beta sub o na yan tsaka yung beta sub 1, eto, class, yung inyong regression coefficients. Yung y, that is your dependent variable, and then x, syempre, yung independent variable nyo. Tapos yung epsilon na yan, that is your residual error. So, pagka-class dun sa problem, hindi binigay class yung epsilon nyo or yung residual error nyo, hindi nyo siya kailangan pakialaman. Wala kayong ilalagay, wala kayong ipa-plus kapag ka lang meron na ibinigay na residual error. Okay? So, yung y at saka x na yan, variable yan. Yan class yung sinasolve natin. For example, kukumpitin yung temperature within this time frame, y is your temperature and then t is your time, or vice versa. Yung beta sub o at saka beta sub 1 na yan, may formula yan. Ito yun. Sabing ganun, beta sub 1 is equal to n times yung summation ng xi, yi minus summation ng xi times yi over n times summation ng xi squared minus summation ng xi squared. Kapag ka beta sub o naman, 1 over n times quantity, summation ng yi minus beta sub 1, yung nakuha yung beta sub 1, and then times summation ng xi. And then lastly, pag nakuha niyo yung beta sub O at saka beta sub 1, i-input niyo siya dito sa general formula. Ito kasi yung general formula natin. Alam ko, hindi niyo yun ma-absorb agad-agad kasi sobrang daming kung ano-anong notations na nandyan. So, isolve natin yung problem. Another formula or sinosolve natin is yung tinatawag nating correlation coefficient. So, i-highlight ko to. This is your simple linear regression model nyo and this is your correlation coefficient R. Formula of the correlation coefficient R that is equal to N times summation ng xy minus summation ng x times summation ng y. Magkaiba yun. Explain ko sa inyo later. Over square root ng n times summation ng x squared minus summation ng x squared times n summation ng y squared minus summation ng y squared. So, magkaiba yun, ha? So, sige. And then lastly, kapag na-solve nyo yung correlation coefficient which is yung R, meron kayong table na titingnan, i-interpret nyo kung very high positive ba siya, kung high positive, moderate positive, low positive, or negligible correlation siya. Applicable din siya kapag very high negative, high negative, moderate negative, low negative, at saka negligible correlation. So, sige. Pwede nyong basa-basahin yan, yung mga yan, pero para mas maintindihan natin, let's dive into the problem. Kasi sure ako, hindi nyo ma-absorb yan kasi nakakalito talaga yan. Tandaan nyo lang muna yung mga summation na yan, okay? Let's try this. A researcher was done to study the effect of ambient temperature X on the electric power consumed Y by an industrial plant. Other factors were held constant. Below are data collected from the experiment. Find the equation of the regression line and estimate the electric power consumption when X is equal to 70 degree Fahrenheit. Based dito sa problem, pwede nating sabihin that X is your temperature and then Y, which is yung dependent variable nyo, is eto plus yung inyong power consumption. Power consumption, kailangan ma-note nyo agad kung ano yung X at saka Y dyan. Meron daw researcher, pinag-aralan daw niya yung effect ng temperature dun sa isang electric power plant. Tapos, hindi niya pinakailaman yung ibang factors. Ang tinignan lang niya yung temperature at saka yung power consumption. Ngayon, meron siyang nag-gather na data which is yung power consumption kapag ganitong temperature. For example, sa first try niya, nakuha niya is 250 British Thermal Unit. That is for BTU, British Thermal Unit. Unit yun class ng power at 27 degree Fahrenheit. Sa trial number 2 niya, 285, yung British Thermal Unit at 45 degree Fahrenheit. And so on. Naka-8 trials siya and then nakakuha siya ng different datas. Of course, kasi different temperatures yung ginamit niya. Ang pinapahanap sa atin, ano daw yung simple linear regression equation natin and ano daw yung electric power consumption kapag daw yung temperature nyo is 70 degree Fahrenheit. Obviously, makikita nyo, wala dyang 70 degree Fahrenheit kaya pinapakompute sa atin. Pero most probably, since meron kayong 72 degree Fahrenheit, baka malapit dito sa 320. Yung final answer na pinapakuha sa inyo, kaya itatry natin yan. So, sige. Gagawin nyo lang, i-extend nyo yung table na yan. Kailangan, teka lang. Yung table na yan, i-extend nyo para lang kayo nagsosolve ng mean-median mode nung dati sa statistics natin. Extend yung table na yan. Pag multiply nyo class yung x at saka y, ito yun. Kasi yan yung kailangan natin dun sa formula natin. Kunin nyo yung x squared. Tapos kunin nyo yung y squared. So, ayan. And then input natin yung mga values na makukuha natin. Teka. Meron akong ruler eh. Ba't ba hindi ko ginagamit yung ruler? Ito yun eh. May ruler ako eh. O, diba? And then, dito yan. Tapos, ito na lang yung pansulat natin. This is your x squared and this is your y squared. And dyan, syempre, summation. Summation ng y, summation ng x, summation ng xy, summation ng x squared, and the summation ng y squared. Okay? So, sige. Kunin nyo class yung mga calci nyo. Kunin nyo na yan. Pag multiply nyo na. 250 times 27. 6750. Dublo ko na lang. 285 times 45. 12825. 320 times 72. Nasa module nyo to eh. Pero, i-validate kasi natin kung tama ba. Kasi usually, may mali. Kapag ka tama siya, then that's good. Kapag ka mali, at least na-validate natin. 295 times 58. 17110. 265 times 31. 8215. 298 times 60. 17880. 267 times 31. 8277. And then 321 times 74. 237. 54. Ayan. And then x squared. Squared nyo yun. 27 squared. 729. 45 squared. 20. 25. 72 squared. 5184. 58 squared. 3364. 31 squared. 961. 60 squared. 36. 31 squared. Ulit. 961 pa din yan, syempre. And then, 74 squared. Tiyagaan lang. Pero may tuturo ako sa inyong pinagbabawal na technique dyan mamaya. 250 squared. Haba. Ayan, 285 squared. Siyempre, pag ginawa nyo to sa exam, ang tagal nyo, di ba? Kaya may tuturo ako sa inyong technique mamaya. 10. Para lang may choices kayo. Kasi hindi naman kayo lahat may magagandang calcu. 295 squared. Tama ba? Tama ba to? Tama naman. Tayo pwede magkamali. 265 na ako, no? Squared. 70225. And then, 298 squared. 88804. 267 squared. 71289. And then 321 is squared. 103041. O, ayan, hanip na yan. Kunin niyo yung sum. Unahin natin, y. 250 plus 285 plus 320 plus 295 plus 265 plus 298 plus 267 plus 321. 2301. This is 2301. Summation lang naman ang kailangan natin dito 45 plus 72 plus mostly kasi nakalagay, 'di ba? Puro summation yung nasa formula natin. 60 plus 31 plus 74. 398. 6750 plus 128 25 plus 230, 40 plus 17110 plus 8215 plus 17880 plus 8277 plus 23754. 11, mukhang tama naman to eh. Nasa ano nyo eh, 851. Sulat ko na nga, i-add nyo na lang 300, 22300 at saka 666509. O yan. So ngayon, teka, check ko pa. Hindi ako satisfied. 5184 plus 3364 plus 961 plus 36 plus 961 plus 5476. Tama naman. So, ayan. Okay na yan. So, ngayon, ang pinapanap sa atin equation daw. Paano ba natin kunin equation? E de, kunin nyo to class ngayon. Yung formula na yan. Sabi ganon, tandaan nyo, for B sub 1, beta sub 1, n, nilagay natin n. Beta sub 1 daw is equal to n. Ano ba ang n nyo? Ilan ba ang n nyo? Ilan ang trials na ginawa nyo? E di, 8. 8 ano? 8 lang naman yan. 8 times. Summation ng ano yon? Summation ng xy. Summation ng xy. O di 117. Ito yun. Summation ng xy. 117, 851. Minus. Susundan nyo lang to ha. Summation ng x times summation ng y. Summation ng x, 398. Times summation ng y, 2301. Ayan. Over. N ulit, that is 8 times, susundan nyo lang yan, no? Summation ng x squared. Kasi x squared, 22300 minus ba yon? Minus summation ng x squared. Summation ng x and then squared. Magkaiba yung summation ng x squared, summation ng x at saka squared ha. This is 398. Tsaka nyo i-square. Magkaiba to ha. Magkaiba to at saka ito. So therefore, ang beta sub 1 natin, input nyo sa calcu 8 times 117, 851 minus 398 times 2301 over 8 times 22300 minus 398 squared. This is 1.35, 1.3508. For beta sub O, that is equal to, susundan ulit, 1 over n. Ano ba ang 1 over n nyo? Di 1 over 8. Diba? Madali lang. Basta susundan nyo lang. Summation ng y minus summation ng y, that is 2301 minus beta sub 1. Ang beta sub 1 nyo ay kakakuha lang 1.3508 times. Gawin natin tong bracket para mas maganda tingnan. 1.3508 and then balik tayo dito. Summation ng x. Summation ng x is 398. Diba? Madali lang. 1 over n, 1 over 8. Nakaka-overwhelm lang sa umpisa yung formula. Para pagka sinundan nyo, hindi naman pala. 398. 220. This is 220.4227. Ngayon, meron na kayong beta sub 1 tsaka beta sub O. Therefore, ang equation nyo is y is equal to, ano nga yun? Ang equation nyo pala is beta sub O. Ano ang beta sub O nyo? This is 220.4227 plus 1.3508 ng x. Ito class yung inyong equation. This is your equation of linear regression. Ito class yung inyong equation. And then, lastly, yung equation na yung class, yan yung gagamitin natin. Sabi ganun, ano daw yung power consumption when x is equal to 70 degree Fahrenheit? Therefore, at x is equal to 70 degree Fahrenheit, substitute nyo yan, what is y? Ano daw tong power consumption na to? Therefore, y is equal to 220.4227 plus 1.3508 times 70. Therefore, y is equal to 220.4227 plus 1.3508 times 70. 300, this is 314.9787. Anong unit na ginamit sa power consumption? British thermal unit. Ito yun. Okay. Ganyan lang. Ganyan lang ang gagawin nyo. Medyo matagal lang siya, pero direct to the point lang siya. And then for example number 2, what is the correlation coefficient of example 1? Also, interpret your result kapag nakuha nyo R. Ano yung formula ng R? O di ayan, sundan natin. Diba? Susundan lang din yan. Therefore, R is equal to N yan. N. Tapos, summation ng XY. Summation ng XY. As summation ng XY nyo, 117,851. 117,851. Balik-balikan nyo lang yung ano ha. Yung formula kasi may copy ako. Minus summation ng X times summation ng Y. Yung summation ng X. 398 at saka 2301. At saka 2301. Over square root. Square root naman. N ulit. That is 8 times. I-bracket natin. Medyo mahaba to. Habaan ko to. Pangit. Buuin natin. Square root ng 8 times summation ng x squared. Hahaba naman na to. Summation ng x squared, that is 2230. 0. 22300. Nakalabas pala to dapat. So, dito yan. Minus summation ng x at saka nyo i-square. Magkaiba yun ha. Magkaiba yung summation ng x at saka i-square. Magkaiba yung summation ng x squared. 398. Kaya malilito dyan. Ako. Squared. And then times. Times nyo to. Lahat ng yan. Sa n ulit. Times summation ng y squared. Hindi nyo pa i-square. Summation ng y squared na agad. 666,509. 666,509. Haba. Minus summation ng y at saka nyo i-square. 2301. 2301 and then square. O, ayan. Ang square root daw siya. R is equal to, input nyo yun class sa calcu. 8 times 117, 851, 398 times 2301 over square root ng 8 times 22300 minus 398 squared times 8 times 666. Huwag kayong malilito sa parenthesis. Mamamali kayo dyan. Minus 2301 squared. This is 0.9867. 0.9867. Ito kasi inyong correlation coefficient. And sabi ganun, interpret daw natin. Interpret natin. From 0.9 to 1.0, very high positive. O, yan. Very high positive to. This is very high positive. Ayan. Very high positive. Yun lang. Ngayon, may ituturo ako sa inyong ipinagbabawal na technique. Kunin nyo class, yung calc nyo. Pindutin nyo class, mode is statistics. Mode is statistics. Hanapin yung mode stat. Tapos, A plus BX or linear regression. Kahit naka-on yung frequency nyo, kahit naka-ano, it doesn't matter. Statistics. Oh, ba't wala? Mode is statistics. Ba ganun? Teka, ulit. Mode is statistics. Ba't ba nawala? Shift stat. Data. Data. O yan. Input nyo class yung X at saka Y nyo. Input nyo class yung X at saka Y. Kahit ano na, kahit ano yung, kahit mapagbaliktad nyo, pero sundan nyo na lang to. Sundan nyo na lang to, na ito yung X nyo, tapos ito yung Y nyo. Daan nyo na lang, 27 equals 45 equals 72 equals 58 equals 31 equals 60 equals 31 equals 74 equals, and then lipat tayo dito, 250 equals 285 equals, recheck nyo, kailangan tama yan, 320 equals 295 equals 265 equals 298 equals 267 equals 321 equals, ay, ba't ganun? Ba't sobra? Recheck natin, x 27, 40, ayun, nawala yung 45. 45 equals, ito, 72. 27, 45, 72 equals, clear natin yan, 58 equals, clear ulit, dito tayo. Ulitin ko lang ha, nawala kasi. Kung kayo na-input nyo na, edi okay na. Then next, doon tayo sa tapat, 250, 285, mali ito. Ayun pala, clear lang. 280, 320 equals, clear. Ay, Diyos ko po. Shift stat data. O yan. 250, 285, 320, 295. 295 equals 290, 265 equals, malapit na. 298 equals 267 equals, and then isa na lang, 321. Recheck ko lang ha. 107, 45, 72, 58, 31, 60, 31, 74. Correct. 250, 285, 320, 295, 265, 298, 267, 321. Okay. After that, i-ano nyo, i-clear nyo, or CA or AC. Pindutin nyo class yung CA or AC. Tapos, para sa mga Canon, makikita nyo yan sa apps. Mga Casio users, Shift Statistics or Shift 1. And then, Regression. Hanapin nyo yung Regression. Makikita nyo dyan yung AB at saka R. Pindutin nyo, hanapin nyo class yung AB at saka R. Regression coefficient A. Pindutin nyo yung A. Ayan. Ito class yung B sub O, yung A. Lagay ko dito, Caltech. Lagay ko na. Sige, para sa inyo. Caltech. Pindutin nyo lang, mode, stat, mode, stat, linear or A plus BX. Input. Input, pagkatapos nyo ma-input, pindutin nyo AC or CA. Tapos, apps. Pagka nagawa niyo yan, hanapin niyo yung A that's equal to beta sub O, and then yung B that's equal to beta sub 1, and then yung R, yung correlation coefficient. And then, ayan na. Beta sub 1, and then syempre, yung R. Ito class yung hahanapin nyo. Ayan na. O di, ayan yung beta sub O. Di ba tama? Ayan, 220.4. Konting discrepancy lang, syempre. And then, next, ganun ulit, shift is stat. Hanapin nyo naman yung B, that is 1.3508. So, parehas lang. Clear nyo ulit, shift is stat ulit, or ups ulit, R. Ito class yun. Yung correlation coefficient natin, that's 0.9867. So, di ba, parehas na parehas. So, pwede kayong gumamit ng Caltech, syempre. I do not recommend kung may calcu naman, ba't i-memorize pa yung formula na yan? So, no need na. Caltech na lang. So, ayan. Correlation coefficient. Lagay ko na nga dito. So, asog na natin to. Ayan. Okay. So, ganun lang. Hanggang dito lang class yung discussion natin. Please mag-prepare na kayo for your upcoming exams. Review both concepts and problem solving. So, huwag kayo mag-rely lang sa pag-solve kasi alam niyo naman kapag ka-exam, sinasama talaga namin yung concepts at saka yung problem solving. So, thank you so much class.